If I were to speculate on what marketers need to be convinced about to be able to move more of their investments into digital, into native particularly, I think we need answers around 2 or 3 dimensions only. One is scale. Scale is answered both by print and television significantly for us today, and native on mobile needs to answer whether scale will happen. So far, I'm not convinced. The other is stature. Just the format of, for example, cinema or an outdoor hoarding, or arguably even television, because of the nature of the medium, gives brands a sense of stature in the consumer's mind, which the tiny little mobile screen is challenged to do. How do we solve for the stature question? And I think the third is really impact, which is measurable and defensible in the boardroom when I do native as when I do television or print. And if the answer to that is convincing, then we'll be on board.
It is not really a question of one versus the other. I think both the mediums have a role to play. The question a brand marketer really needs to ask, which is the medium which helps me to address my recruitment TG? If it is TV, so be it. If it is digital, so be it. But it has to be looked at which medium offers me the best chance to recruit my TG at scale. That's point one. The second important point is, what is my cost to reach that audience? Whichever medium offers me the least possible cost to recruit at scale, that becomes the medium of choice. The point I'm trying to make here is, it is not TV versus digital versus mobile native advertising, but to look at it at a single screen agnostic medium and say whichever medium offers the best scale at reach at the least possible cost, that becomes my most effective medium.
I think it's important to understand 2 nuances which are, I think, critical. The one part is that the so-called division between traditional media and new age digital media, as we've called it, is blurring, which means that a marketing message starting on TV or a hoarding or a print campaign can very easily get extended onto a mobile phone screen and therefore engage the consumer and lead to a particular outcome, which could be a sale, a lead, and so on and so forth. The second nuance is particularly interesting, which is native advertising on mobile. Because this is advertising which is built for mobile, and therefore one can literally see outcomes in real-time basis. Let's take the example of my industry, which is telecom. For a Vodafone customer, it's quite possible that through native advertising on a real-time basis, imagine the customer walking into an airport and wanting to recharge his or her mobile phone, or traveling abroad on an international business trip and therefore wants to get their international roaming services activated. A reminder, for example, in the right context, or a pitch in the right context, goes a long way therefore in closing the loop and driving a certain business outcome.
As a marketer today, if I want to see any sort of movement on my brand KPIs, I'm committing certain amount of money, certain amount of investment to different mediums. Let me give you an example. If I tell you that in your ATL campaign you can probably just do one burst of TV and you will be shut out for the rest of the year, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't be able to guarantee me the kind of dramas that you do today. So if I bring that to digital, to ensure you fulfill the promise of a proposition as powerful as native, you need to be able to give it the kind of strategic provisioning, the kind of place in your plans and sustained investment, so that it's able to actually deliver what it potentially can.
I think it's a great question because it really comes down to how do you actually look at impact. There's 2 kinds of ways I would measure impact. One is perception, in the case of what the boss thinks about, how your brand was perceived because it was on the front page of a print newspaper. Or it was being heavily played out as a television commercial on a mainstream TV channel or a GEC. And the second is really the results it delivers. So if the perception is something that, because these mediums are looked at as more expensive and hence it looks good compared to what the results it delivers, and if the results being delivered are the same as what a native advertisement or any kind of format which you have bought on mobile or on the internet, if your brand's key ROI metrics are being moved regardless of what people's perception is, I think that's, in my opinion, a better filter to make judgment from, rather than a person's perception of, or you happen to have the front page of a mainstream newspaper, or you are sponsoring a mainstream television show. Sure, that feels nice, but doesn't move the needle.